Salford City 1, Milton Keynes Dons 0. Let's jump into some reaction for this. Now, I don't think it was the best game of football. I can't really recall many decent patterns of play, more than any decent patterns of play despite the terrible pitch and conditions. And after losing to Barnet last week, I didn't really have the best feeling about today because, as I've touched upon recently, we have struggled to bounce back in the league after having a defeat in our previous game. I've touched upon that last couple of videos, and I'm not going to keep saying the same thing, but it's something that we really need to address because we can't keep losing games. Certainly going towards the last 6 games of the season, every game now is certainly a must-win after today. Now, I do feel like, saying what I've said, I do actually feel like the lads were a little bit more up for it today than they were against Barnet last week. I feel like there was a bit more effort today, and one player who I do feel played well was Craig McGillivray. I feel like he certainly played more like the Craig that we have been seeing throughout most of the season, really. He did make some really good saves, and if it wasn't for him, I certainly think we would have lost that by more than one goal, that's for sure. I also feel like the defence, they actually played a little bit better today than they did against Barnet, but, this was a must-win game for me. I said in the preview, this is our biggest game of the season to date, and we just didn't do enough to win it. Goals change games. They scored a goal, we didn't score a goal. And that's ultimately what it's coming down to, because, we had our shots, we had our chances, but I just feel like when we got near towards their goal, we just didn't really know what to do with the ball. We had 11 shots, 8 of them were off target, and the other 3 were just shot towards their goalkeeper and their defence. It just wasn't going in the back of the net, even when we had that scruffle where it's like, where it's touches in quick succession, thinking, oh, maybe this one will go away, maybe the next one, you're on your toes, but it just wasn't happening. And you can't win football matches like that. You can't go up playing like that. So this has got to be sorted out now. It's fair to say that if a neutral was watching our previous 2 games, if we take into account the game today and the game against Barnet last Saturday, I don't think they think that we are the top scorers in the league based on what they saw in those games. That's certainly not in any doubt for me. Luke Offord, he let the team down today. Personally, I wouldn't have sent him off for it. I'm not sure what the whole rules are, but there's absolutely no way he needs to kick the ball at the player who went down, Ryan Graydon. I was about to say injured, but the way he got up straight away, there's no way he was injured. But yeah, he's let the team down today, Luke Offord. I just don't understand why he did that, and now he's going to be out for 3 games or so. It's not what we need, so he's got to take accountability and responsibility and acknowledge that he made a big mistake today. No way did he need to do that. And yeah, it's a shame really, because some of the results did actually go our way. I said in the preview, I didn't think Barrow would beat Bromley. Well, they did. Much to our surprise, and if we had won today, which we needed to, we could have actually gone off the top by just 2 points again, and we would have solidified second place again, but with Cambridge United losing to Barnet as well, and instead we are now just 1 point ahead of Notts County in 4th after they beat Harrogate Town in the early kick-off, like I think most of us thought they would do. Thank God Notts County lost to Oldham Athletic in midweek, because if they hadn't, they'd at least be level on points with us or even above us, and that's not what we want going into the last 6 games, is it? Every game now is an absolutely vital in the absolutely strongest way possible, must win between Friday the 3rd of April and the end of the season if we are going to get promoted automatically. I really don't want to go through another playoff campaign, especially after what happened 2 years ago, even if we do have a manager called Paul who seems to have done quite well with us to get to this point, it has to be said. Following Barrow's win against Bromley, Barrow will be up for it on Friday. I'm absolutely convinced of that, and we just have to find a way to perform better than what we did today and what we did last week if we are to get anything from the game as well. If Barrow are going to be up for it, it's not going to be an easy walk in the park. And I just don't really know what Paul Warren's got planned now, but whatever happens, we've got to find a secret to just getting the best out of this team. Maybe what we'll need, maybe the missing ingredient, will be Callum Patterson. Paul Bourne said that he's been back in training this week, and hopefully he'll be available to play on Friday. And I would actually go as far to say we need Callum Patterson now more than ever before. At this point, Aaron Collins, I've been so full of praise for Aaron Collins recently. He's performed well in Callum Patterson's absence since his own injury. I have called him more than once and like a new signing to the squad, but today and last week he was not at his best. So it's clear now we need Callum Patterson and we need Nathaniel Mendes-Lang, who it was really nice to see come back today in the last 6 games. And we just need them to be at their best, and hopefully that will be the missing ingredient that we've been missing out on, and that will be what we need to really go for it in the last 6 games and perform back to our best, because if we do that, we go up. If not, it's another playoff campaign, and we don't want to go through that, do we? So yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully in 6 days' time we'll be back to winning ways, and hopefully we'll have done it quite convincingly as well. It is do or die for the Dons now, and I really hope it's do as opposed to die after everything we've been through over the last few years. Guys, if you've watched this far, thank you so much. It is really, really appreciated. I really do mean that. If you haven't already done so, please make sure to subscribe and to share the video. It really does help me out. If you've liked what you've seen and you've enjoyed what I've said, or you've agreed with what I've said, then please make sure to subscribe. Yeah, like I say, it helps me out more than you'll ever know. Thanks again for watching. Hopefully we'll be back to winning ways on Friday. Hopefully we've just got over the worst of it now. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's keep the faith. Let's keep supporting. And hopefully in a few weeks' time we'll be back to League One. Thanks again for watching, guys. Come on, you Dons.